Tonight's tale is a wonderful tale that happens in the woods of California. The overgrown, thick forest woods that go on of pine trees and evergreens that go on for miles and miles above the ridge canyons and beneath the mountains and all over. That's where our tale shall be tonight. I will play the role of John, someone who this may have very well happened to. Enjoy. I'm John, a young California man in the after the Victorian era, really. We were just still in the beginning times. This was way back when there were still Indians and all kinds of strange animals and people around. I was a young man in California, and I had been sent by my granddad to go and collect some wood for the house. So I was out chopping my load, and I was going through it at rapid speed, contorting my stomach muscles and my ripped abs as I picked up the axe and slammed it down onto chunks of wood, which I made into smaller pieces to prepare for the winter. As I went through the wood, I looked up and my grandma was there in our big wooden house, which we'd just recently made. And she said, "Why did you leave the washing out and not peg it up, not put it on the line?" So she was behind me and she started putting the washing up on the line. And in them days, we didn't have washing machines, hadn't been invented yet. So she had to wring out the washing by hand and then put it through this machine and wring it through. And then she started putting it up. And she had been working a lot with her hands throughout the years. So her wrist bones were very wide and her hands were coarse and strong. Though her demeanor was that of a nice old lady, she was indeed my grandmother, and I thought nothing of it. But then I was too busy minding my own business chopping my wood, and she said to me, "Boy, we're gonna need more wood than that. Why don't you go out into the forest? You be careful. Take this shotgun and bring me back some real wood and bring me back some of them fine mushrooms. You know, the ones that send me loopy." I said, "Yes, Grandma, don't worry. I'll go out now." And she said, "Here, put on your jacket, this thick leather jacket." It was a leather jacket that my daddy got me. Well, he made me that leather jacket out of a buffalo. Because in them days, buffalo was roaming all over California. And in fact, California had only just been declared into existence in them days because it was the start of America. Because this is a story from hundreds of years ago. And if I do recall correctly, there was a slight pong in the air, a whiff of mule dung or some kind of animal dung in the air. And it was just beginning to snow. And when it snows in California, it snows. Because there was no built-up cities in them days. And the snow had just begun to fall. And I realized something was coming down on me. White bits of stuff. And I realized that was snow. I said to my grandma, "Hey, Grandma, it's snowing. It's snowing." And she said to me, "Oh, Johnny, I do love a bit of snow for Christmas." And she carried on bringing her clothes out to get them nice and dry. But I I had to even collect more firewood now because it was gonna snow, and it's gonna snow thick. And sometimes it was getting 2 feet or a meter deep in the snow by winter time. But as I looked around, it had only just begun to snow, so you could clearly see all the greenery. You could see the grass. You could see the grass and the individual blades of grass. You could see all the greenery on the trees still, because it had only just begun to snow. That was the time of year. Anyway, my grandma went in the house and she came back out and she said, "Here, Johnny. Here's a shotgun. Hoo-hoo. Here's some cartridges as well. My grandson. Now, here's a rucksack, and you take this, your daddy's leather jacket with frilly, warm fur on the collar and sleeves and so on. And you come back and you take this big sack and you come back with some, you take this rope as well, and you come back with a lot of wood and some mushrooms from Grandma. Grandma can't live without them mushrooms. It's mushroom season, you see. I need my mushrooms to feel better about myself. Ooh, I've got no self-esteem, Johnny, help me." So I gave my Nana a hug. It's a true story, kind of. I gave my Nana a hug, and off I went. And the snow was consistently coming down now. And as I looked out into the epicenter of the distance, I could see thousands of thick pine trees, and the snow and the mist was building up. And my footprints were a bit muddy. But then as the snow began to build up, I started, after a while of walking, I started making some footsteps into the snow. The snow was building up quite fast on the ground. I was carrying my rope, and I was carrying my shotgun, and I knew how to use it. I had been a crack shot since the age of 5, when my daddy first taught me how to shoot. I remember the first time I ever fired a shotgun. I put the barrel right up against, I rested it on a fence. I shot my load into a big buffalo. Ooh, that was good eating. Anyway, me and my brother Ben, my older brother Ben, he matured a bit faster than me. And he used to shoot his load into the back of them donkeys. He told me it was good, clean fun. Anyway, she called Ben, and I had already started walking off. I was at least over 200 feet now away from our wooden house. And Ben, I started to hear Ben behind me saying, hey Johnny, I'm coming with you. Wait up." So I turned around and I saw about 200 feet from the house. Ben was there, my older brother, and he had all kinds of gear, and he was coming to help me. My grandma waved us off, and he ran and caught up to me. So there we were, me, Johnny, I'm Johnny, and my older brother Ben. We were trekking side by side and talking in merriments as we trekked through the thick woods. As I turned behind myself to look over my shoulder one more time, I could see our house seemingly getting smaller and smaller in the distance. And we entered the tree line, and there was all thick bushes and thick trees. We had got in there, and we just carried on. Now, my brother Ben, he wasn't stupid, because I cannot say that any person is stupid, because that would be an understatement. But he did have a big carving knife, and every now and then, every big tree that we went past, we put a carving into it, so we would know our way back. Just like in that story where they put the breadcrumbs, but that would be foolish because birds and animals eat the breadcrumbs, so we just carved. Ben would just get out his big whopping knife and just carve into the biggest trees arrows and markers and directions. And even as we did, we'd come across this big, thing. This big broken branches all put up into some kind of structure. And Ben said, "Hey, Johnny, look at that. Would you look at that? What do you think? Who made this? Do you think it'd be Indians?" I said, "Yeah, that looks like a." I said, "Ben." Yeah, that looks like Indians must have made this kind of a triangle structure out of broken trees. Must have been 15-foot tall, just trees, broken branches, 15-foot tall, long branches, all derailed of all leaves, just been leant against each other in some kind of lean-to." And Ben said, "Oh, you better be careful, Johnny. Them Indians will get you." Then I'll be in line to marry Marissa. Marissa was this girl that we both liked, but, we were brothers, and we had to respect each other. I had to respect him because he was my older brother, and he had to have mercy on me and be considerate to me because I was his younger brother. Anyway, he put a good marker in there, and we just carried on. And we carried on for miles, trekking and walking. And now we came to a ravine. I don't even know what a ravine means, but we came to this cliff edge, and then there was just a big gorge, like a big drop, and we had to get onto the other side. So there was no way to cross, and in the nature of things, a big tree had filled the distance between one gorge and the next. And I just said to Ben, "You must be kidding me. I'm not walking across that tree that had fallen down and made a natural bridge. I'm not walking across that because just going even near the edge, there was such a big drop that went down for what seemed to be half a mile drop into this canyon. And I just had like a fear of heights. I just thought, no way. All the hairs stood on the back of my back stood up, my blonde hairs, and I just thought, oh. I just had to pull myself away from the edge. And Ben said, "Don't worry, Johnny. I'm not that stupid." This would be a very short story if we tried to cross the gorge that way, because we'd certainly fall to our death. So we walked around we had to find another way to cross, if we wanted to cross at all. And I said to Ben, "Why are we even out here?" And Ben said, "Look, we need to get them special elf mushrooms, before the winter comes, because it's a season for them." And I said, "Where are they?" And he said, "We're almost there." And I said, "What about the firewood?" And he said, "Oh, well, a tree's a tree. One tree's as good as the next, We can cut down any tree and get firewood." I wasn't stupid, but I wanted to know why I'd been sent out here. Anyway, we kept on trekking, and Ben took me to this place where there was all these wonderful, wonderful mushrooms, and he knew which ones to pick and which ones not to pick. And he started picking them and put them in a bag. And he took the spindly mushrooms, gave them a good sniff and feel with the tip of his thumb in between his finger, having a look at the ridge, getting the mushroom tip right under his thumb and having a good look at it. And he gave it a good sniff and said, "This is good eating." And he said, "This is the type of mushroom we want." And he showed me another type of mushroom, and he said, "Don't pick that mushroom. You gotta pick this mushroom, not that mushroom. That mushroom's no good. This one's really good. This is the elves mushrooms." Anyway, we started to pick the mushrooms. We were just picking them, and we couldn't find them. But when we found one, we found tons. And the snow was coming down, and with more time, every 10 minutes that passed, it was becoming more and more hard to spot these mushrooms because the snow was just building up. But we must have got about 70 mushrooms in our bag, and Ben had a bag and I had a bag, and I was just rooting around on my knees, just picking mushrooms out, and we were kind of in our own world. And this smell, this pungent smell just came over us again, a whiff from the distance. And we were still quite near to the edge of the gorge, and we had a feeling that we just had this panic, this we was in such, bliss on our hands and knees, giving it the old mushroom picking. It was just such bliss. And we were so near to the edge of the drop-off, the gorge. I just had this overriding feeling that I said, "Hey, Ben, I've got this bad feeling. I've got this real deep feeling that someone's watching us." And Ben broke his state of bliss and concentration, and he said, "Johnny, I don't want to tell you this, but I think them Indians are over the other side of the gorge in the tree line. And they could have bow and arrows. And I really feel something bad's watching us. I really do." And he said, "Johnny, I don't want to alarm you, but if you just look into the tree line." And by this time, my breathing had become right up in the highest part of my chest, above my heart, and I just had this strange feeling of shivers down my elbows and center of my back, and I just thought, something bad's watching us, something evil's watching us. And I just thought, oh, them damn dirty Indians, it could be them Indians after us again. And if they've got bow and arrows, they could clear that distance of the gorge with them arrows. And we'd be up a creek without a sheep. We'd be lost. We'd be lost souls. So I said to Ben, I don't feel good about this. Let's go. And Ben said, "Okay, Johnny. Be good." So he said, "Right, pack up your stuff." And he said, "Johnny?" I said, "Yes, Ben." He said, "Can you see?" He pointed with his finger. He said, "Can you see right in the tree line there? There's two red eyes, wide apart." And he was basically stuck in a position in fear. And I glanced over and I just saw a shimmer of one red eye, and I didn't look at it and I didn't fixate on it, and I just shook Ben. I shook him out of his trance, and he said, "What's happening?" And we began to run for it. We took the mushrooms and we just ran. And our hearts were beating fast, pounding. And we just pelted it. And we stuck together. We knew to stick together. And then Ben, he looked over his shoulder. I kept on running. I wouldn't look over to my shoulder. I could not look over my shoulder to see what was there. This big sensation of being watched by like 1,000 eyes was just on us. And Ben gave out a massive scream. He went, a scream that was not like him. He was a tough guy, my brother Ben. He was well known as a boxing local champion. He was a tough man, a big 6'5" brother of mine, Ben. Very manly, with a manly chest, lean stomach, big arms, big hands. And he gave out a scream that was a constricted scream. He tried to scream and almost no sound came out of his mouth. And all I looked at, I couldn't look back. I was running, and Ben was running with me in the same direction, with these packets of mushrooms on our backs and ropes on our backs and backpacks. And I couldn't look back. Just like in the Bible when there was that prophet and someone was told, don't look back or you might turn into salt or a pillar of salt. Anyway, I knew not to look back. And Ben made a mistake of looking back. As he was running, he turned his head over his shoulder and gave out this constricted scream. And I couldn't look. I knew not to look. I just stiffly held my neck in such a position to not look back. And we ran through the trees together. And I grabbed Ben's sleeve. And I said, come on, Ben, come on, Ben.
Come on, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out.
He just had a bolt of endorphins. He both had a bolt of something going through his body. Adrenaline. He had a bolt of adrenaline. It was adrenaline. And he just shot off like a sprinter. He just got a second wind of energy, and he just shot off just ahead of me. Because normally I run faster than him, but this time he outran me. And I knew not to look back. And we were just crashing through the woods, and branches were breaking, and leaves were falling, and leaves seemed to fall in slow motion. And as we were running, I could see each individual snowflake coming down onto my shoulder pads, onto my hands, onto my knees. My knees, which had been in the snow, were wet, and my pants were heavy, but we were running like mad. And then we ran as far as we could, and we stopped by a big rock. And Ben said, Johnny, did you see that? And I said, no, Ben, what was it? What was it? He said it was a big... A great big... Big what? Big what, Johnny? It was a great big man came out of the tree line to watch us run away as we ran away. I said, Ben, was it an Indian? Was it an Indian? What did he look like? Did he have a big nose? What was he Indian? Did he have Indian headdress on? How many of them was there? And Ben just he looked right at my eyes, as if he had lost his own soul, and his eyes just looked deep and black, as if he was emotionless. And I grabbed my brother Ben's face, and I looked at him in his eyes, and I said, Ben, what was it? Who was it? And I shook him. It was as if he was in a trance. I said, Ben, was it Indians? We've got to tell Pa. He said, and he put his head down slowly and looked at the snow, and he said, Johnny. Oh, Johnny. It was a big, hairy man. Half the size, half the height of a tree. I said, Ben, are you all right? I believe you, Ben. I believe you. Was this one? He said, Johnny, don't tell anyone that I'm crying. You mustn't tell anyone, Johnny, that I'm crying. It was a man. It was a man. It was like a bear. It was a man bear. It was a monster. Had the face of a man. Shoulders at least 4 foot wide. About 8 foot tall. I went, Ben, are you sure? I believe you, Ben. I said, come on, Ben. Let's get up. And Ben said, I can't. My legs have just... he said, Johnny, my legs have just lost all their strength. I can barely walk. The shock... I was full of adrenaline. I just ran like a sprinter. But now the adrenaline's come down and I just need a rest. And then all of a sudden I said to him, Ben, where are we? And we both looked out into the horizon. And we thought, where the hell are we? We'd ran off in a direction we don't normally go in. Out of fear. And I think we were lost. So things had just gone from good to better. Well, I said to him, look on the bright side. At least we're safe. At least me and everyone we care about, everyone we love is safe, and they can look after themselves. And they're not stupid. We'll look after themselves. Don't worry, Grandma will figure a way out to find us. And Ben said, we're gonna have to go back. Follow our footsteps back. And he said, I can't. He said, Johnny, I can't go back there. I can't go back that way. I said, look, Ben, there was a gorge between me and whatever that thing was. There was a gorge. There was a gorge. We were picking mushrooms near a cliff face, and the other cliff face had a gorge of at least, maybe 40 feet between it. And beneath that was half a mile down was some kind of inland sea, some kind of river, or whatever it was. Nothing can cross that gorge. But then Ben said, what about the tree that had fallen down and made a natural bridge? I said to him, Ben, I'm not going back that way. I said, come on, Ben. Let's have some of these mushrooms. So we decided the best thing to do was to eat. We both had about 70 mushrooms or more in each of our satchels. So we said, right, we're gonna have to eat some of Grandma's mushrooms. And he had a big slab of meat on him, cooked meat and bread in another bag which he was carrying with him. So we got that out and we put it on a kind of natural rock table, and we sat down and we began to eat. We ate to get our morale up and to strengthen our moral fibre and to strengthen our legs. And we just ate, and as we ate food together, we just felt more and more calm within our bodies, and we just calmed down. We calmed down, and everything seemed calm again. Even I was calm again. I said, breathe deeply, breathe like me. It releases anxiety, makes you anxiety free. Just breathe like this. Breathe in real deep. Hold it. Breathe out. Half. Stop. And breathe out. Whatever you got left, breathe it out. Breathe it out. Breathe out all the stale air like this. We're sat on this rock eating this food. Two brothers, and one way to calm yourself down is breathe deep. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe, Ben, watch how I breathe. That crisp, cool air. You can see the air coming out of my mouth. Watch how I breathe it in. The snow was falling all around us. There's still plenty of daylight. Now breathe out through your nose. Breathe out slower the better. force the stale air out of your stomach. He said, Johnny, I feel more calm now. This food's giving me some strength. I wonder if that thing could smell the food. I said, Ben, let's eat these mushrooms. I said, Ben, is it all right to eat these mushrooms? He said, let me have a look. He said, yeah, you can eat them. Some mushrooms you can't eat, but these mushrooms, oh, you can eat these mushrooms. I said, Ben, what about Grandma? She wants them mushrooms. She goes crazy for that mushroom. You know how cranky she can be if she doesn't get her mushrooms, Ben. I said, Johnny, I don't care. I love my grandma. I love her more than fresh butter on buttered toast. More than stuffing a goose for Thanksgiving. But you know, because Thanksgiving has just been invented recently. But you know, I gotta have these mushrooms, Johnny. Gotta have these mushrooms. So we just ate them. We chewed them. Oh yeah, we chewed them. We began to look at each other with wide, big eyes, as if stars were twirling around slowly in our eyes, as if our eyes were the stars themselves. And we chewed on them mushrooms. We just felt so much better. He's such a good brother of mine. He pulled off a hunk of his bread and gave it to me. He gave me a big slab of the meat. And he said, Johnny, we've got a bit more meat than that if you want some. I said, thank you, Ben. I appreciate that you're my brother, and I've never been too close to you. Sometimes, Ben, we've been in the house, and we've been next to the bin and that, and we never spoke a word to each other. And I'm too manly to say it, but I care for you, Ben. I said, I care for you too, Johnny. I've always been protective of you and my family members. I've always made sure that nothing harmful is near you or anyone we love. Oh, God, keep us safe. We did a little prayer, and a glaze came over our eyes, and tranquility descended upon us, and all the mist came over us, a type of snow mist that would only last maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. So we pulled up our bridges, and we pulled up our jackets over our heads, and we put our hoods on, our nice fur hoods up over our thick gleaming hair, our full thick head of hair. And we, for the first time in our lives, I'm ashamed to admit it, but we did a man hug. We hugged. We got real close physically, and we gave each other a nice warm hug, which was very strange. And it was kind of a hug and a push all at once, because we'd never been very close brothers. But anyway, that was probably the strangest part of the story, that hug. And confessing that we did actually care about each other was out of the blue. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue distance, we looked up in the distance, and in the near distance there was a mist, and the mist of the snow seemed to be like a light blue hue, sparkling and shimmering. And all of a sudden, I started hearing Christmas bells, because it was almost Christmas. It wasn't too long till Christmas, and I started hearing Christmas bells. Maybe it was reindeer. I don't know. Maybe it was Santa Claus or Father Christmas himself, or his reindeers as a phenomenon. Why would they be here? Come to rescue us, eh? I don't know. I suddenly felt euphoria in the woods, and we started hearing these people talking in English. They gave us so much comfort. We said, "Holy, holy, 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 my God of love." I think we were on something. We were certainly onto something, and something just felt right. We just kept a smile plastered on our faces, and we seemed to have forgotten about anything that ever occurred untoward, and we were just stuck in that feeling of secure bliss of relaxed feeling. I could see his face. Ben's face was like mine, all relaxed, all the muscles and his face would just become serene, relaxed, and every muscle in his body had relaxed. And he said, "Hey, hey, 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 how you doing, guys?" And he was waving to someone. I looked up and I think I saw a little green hat, maybe about 1 foot off the ground. These little people, I thought, and my eyes were kind of dazed and glazed over. And Ben said, "Hey, it's my friends, the Christmas elves. Christmas elves. I told you, I knew they were real. I told you, didn't I tell you?" I don't know whether it was some kind of... Everywhere I looked, my vision was a bit strange, a bit fuzzy. And then Ben was speaking away, and my hearing had temporarily disappeared. And we couldn't even feel the cold anymore. We felt a bit warm and a bit cozy. And from behind this tree popped the head of a little bearded elf with a green suit on, with a pointy green felt hat. And then just all these elves started to notice them, and it didn't seem strange. It seemed perfectly normal that these elves would be there.
Top of the morning there, boys. Don't be alarmed. It's just me and me little elves. Got a lot of food there. Anything we can do for you, lads? Don't mind us. You won't hurt us, will you, lads?"
said this elf. I laughed at Ben, laughed at this elf. And it just seems so natural. Do you know, like when you're in a dream and you think everything's real and it's really good and enjoyable, and then sometimes when you're awake, everything's like a dream and it's real and it's enjoyable and you just take it for granted, but you're so grateful at the same time. And it was just like that. And it was just normal and so real. And Ben said to the elf, hi. Do you work for Santa Claus? I heard you were coming." Ben must have been on some drugs. Maybe it was the mushrooms, but anyway, the elf replied, I could clearly see the elf. This was no hallucination. To me, this was perfectly real. I'm looking right at this elf. This scruffy beard. Bits of blonde and red in his beard, like a red beard. He's only 1 foot tall, this elf.
dressed in like a Robin Hood kind of green suit with these shoes on, and his shoes were curled up at the toes into some kind of spiral. And all these little elves were just appearing here and there on the trees, on the branches, coming out behind bushes and trees, and it seemed normal. I can only explain it as it was a normal delight of the gratitudes and favours of this life, and there was a cute little long blonde-haired elf there that was giving me the eyes. She had long eyelashes and winked at me. And I thought, hoo hoo, hoo hoo, ha ha, ha ha. And then the elf said, don't mind us, boys. We won't hurt you. We've known about you for a long time. We've been looking after you. We've been praying good things for you. We've been looking after you and the people you love. Don't worry, we won't do you any harm. We're just passing through at this time of the year. Is there anything we can do for you, boys? You won't harm us, will you, boys? And I said, Mr. Elf, is it? And he said, yes, yes, boy. I said, Mr. Elf, can you help us to get? You won't hurt us, will you? No. No, I'm a good elf. I said, Mr. Elf, we've had a bit of a run-in with this. We were picking mushrooms, and we had a bit of a run-in with this big hairy man. Real big hairy man, apparently 8 foot tall, and he scared us away, and we've come here and we're a bit lost, and it's snowing, and even though it feels warm, it's snowing, and is there any way you could help us get back safely home? And the elf looked at us, and with a grin he said, why didn't you say so, boys? Come on, lads and girls. Let's take these young boys home. We're showing them the way. We know our way. Well, we know our way around these woods, don't we, boys and girls? And they all said, yes, yes. And they were all making little elf noises like this. So they they walked. So the elves, shyly, the elves were now about 20 feet away from us. And they I said, yep. You can trust us, elves. Very, very trustworthy. I'm sure you know it. We're sure you know us. We're very trustworthy. And my eyes latched onto his tiny little feet as he came out from. Exposed himself as he came out from behind that tree, and he was the leader of the elves, I presumed. And he bravely had a staff in his hand, and I watched as he took his little footsteps in his little brown shoes and the curled up, and he took a little footstep closer to us, and then he took another footstep closer to us, then another one. I could see he was actually making little impressions in the snow. So he was physical, he was real, he was a real elf, I wasn't making it up. And I put my hands up slowly, just to show him that we were no harm. And he said, now, boys. We're going to get you out of here. And we know exactly who you're talking about, that big hairy ape. He's no harm. He's just a bit hungry. He's friendly, big foot. Isn't he, guys? Me. And all the other elves went a bit. some of the elves went silent, and some of the elves went. So they came. It was about 40, 50 elves came forward slowly. And some of them had rucksacks and backpacks and things, and some of them had little furries flying around them with wings, which I thought were insects at first. One came and landed right on a leaf right next to me, and the leaf began to bend under the weight of this furry, and I thought, oh my god, it's an insect, and I had a good look at it. Good thing I didn't swat it or kill it. And it was a furry. Lady furry, and she was giving me the eyes and the come on. She had this little minx dress on her. Ooh, she was beautiful. Right trim, proper. Very elegant, with long little legs. I thought if you were a little bit big, well, I'll give you a go. And she was giving me the old blow off. She was giving me the old, she was giving me the eyes. She was giving me them twinkly little eyes. And I looked at her. I looked at her. She was only about maybe 1 foot away from me, and she was on a leaf, and I could tell that she was real because the weight of her was pushing the leaf down. And I looked at her sparkling little wings as she stretched them out, and she had a tiny little hand with elongated fingers, and she reached her hand out, and I don't believe what I did next. I just slowly stuck my giant, massive hand out, and I took my little finger and protruded my little finger out, and I put it near enough to her, and she reached out and touched my little finger with her finger. And I thought, oh, she's very delicate. Ooh, yeah, baby. I thought, ooh. And then the elves came. I noticed that this chief elf was now only about 4 feet away from me, and as I looked him in the face, and I said, sir, elf, may I call you elf? He said, aye, you may call me elf, being that I'm an elf. Elfing hell. Right, now come on, you boys, we'll take you home, back to your daddy and grandma, hey? I said, Ben said that, wow, this is wonderful, this is normal. Thanks, elves. So we, all of us and 50 elves, we started walking and mooching off. And they led us, and I could hear the little footsteps beside us as we were walking back. And we walked a good few miles, and every footstep of ours was accompanied by many other little elf footsteps in the snow. And then, like a mirage, our house, big wooden house, came into view, and the elves walked us as far as the tree line. And then he turned around and said to me and Ben, "Now, Johnny and Ben, you've been such good boys. What would you like for Christmas? We'll come and visit you, eh? If we got the time, if we're in the area, we'll come and visit you. We'll beautify your sisters, and what do you want? Make a wish." I said I couldn't possibly ask anything of you, Sir Elf. But Ben said, There is a Marissa girl, and I'd like her hand in marriage. And he said, "Well, I'll give you a bit of advice." Whoops. Well, just tell this Marissa girl that you're friends with the fairies and you're away with the elves, and we'll come around to her while she's sleeping one night, and we'll whisper some lullabies in her ears, and we'll see if we can give her some nice dreams about you. Soften her up for you, lad? Get you in there. Get it in there, lad. Hey, Okay. Anyway, we are we can detect your frequency that you emit from your good character, and that's why we approached you. You see, and but now you can see your house, and we won't be coming any further past the tree line, lads, because we've got things to do, elfy things to do, and it's nice meeting you, lads. Well, we'll talk again, okay? And you go home now, and you look after your family and yourselves, if you can. Be good lads. Yeah, well, oh, yeah. I said, Johnny. I said to the elves, bye now. It's been wonderful seeing you. You are a real godsend. God sent you to us. Real thank you. We'll be seeing you, will we? Make sure you keep your promise and come and see us again, and do us really good things. Be considerate. You've done us a good turn there. Thanks, elves. And we waved to all the elves and little furry. And Ben said, "Bye. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you." And he embraced the elves, and he gave the biggest elf, he gave the leader elf such a good hug. He bent down, he got on his knees, and he gave him such a... I was watching my brother got down and gave him a right good hug. A right physical hug. And his little elfy arms were trying to wrap around my brother, but they couldn't. And we waved goodbye to the elves, and we watched them go. And my grandma came out the house, and she said, "Oh, boys, you're back. Oh, I'm so glad you're back." And that was the basic tale of what actually happened, according to the people that it happened to. I'm only the narrator, and I must put myself in first-person perspective when telling stories, because it sounds better. This has been the first episode of Mandella Tales. The next episode, we'll be hearing for someone who had an encounter with a giant human being. And the next episode, look forward, subscribe and like, because the next episode is even better. The next episode is about someone who's wrote into me who's had an encounter with a giant human being. So, sports fans, till next time, subscribe, like and share, and listen to these stories at night. There's a nice Christmassy stories coming up. Good night. So guys, thank you for listening to this, and if any of you have had seen any orbs, any UFOs, any aliens, any spirits, any ghosts, any dreams, if anyone's seen any Bigfoots, anyone's got any story to tell, just write into me at my email address, and thanks for being such wonderful listeners, and look forward to our continued friendship. And good night, guys, and I hope this helped people to get a good night's sleep as well. So, good night. See you next time.